I don't really think anyone else in the draft can do that for you, is like my point. Like, I think there's a hard cutoff after Jaden Ivey. Um, like, even if like, I don't think Jabari Smith does that for the Knicks. Like, I think Jabari's a great prospect who will be great for a lot of teams. I'm less high on his upside compared to someone like Jaden, but I get it. Like, how someone like a Houston could plug and play Jabari and like have him be a big time piece and just keep building. No one else in this draft really, like, I don't think, I love Johnny Davis. I don't think he's like dramatically changing the direction of the Knicks franchise by himself. I think he's a good piece that you can add and stack and build your rotation and continue to gel with the rest of the young core, but just keep building. So when you do get that stud, hopefully maybe in 2023 draft or 2024, or maybe you strike gold in free agency, who knows? But I do think, like, if you just spend your entire time chasing, that one guy or in selling the assets, and you're kind of just going to be back to square one, which I think would be unfortunate considering the small progress that I do think the Knicks made last year with certain of the young guys.
Now, Raw, I already know Raw. Okay, so one thing I'm gonna say is this: a lot of Knicks Nation are also hoping that we'll be able to move Julius Randle for the 7th pick, and if that's the case, if he's the main piece, I think a lot of Knicks Nation will say yes. The question is that actually possible? Is that something that Portland is even looking for, or is that like a pipe dream? Right? It might be a pipe dream. It might be. Who knows? I've heard some interesting things about the way that Portland's cap is set up. Is it even possible that they will even take Randle and how that works with them? But me personally, if I can move Randle for 7th pick, I might do it just to clear the pathway for Obi Toppin. That's just me, and I'm just tired of.
You're telling me I can get off his contract and move up in the draft?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's a no-brainer. Like, I'm personally viewing that contract. Like, I don't know how it's viewed around the league. Like, I don't know how Knicks fans view it. Like, me personally, to the current state of the Knicks, like, that contract being on your books, like, that is a negative asset to me. Like, when it's all said and done, like, obviously Julius, I mean, we can debate if Julius Randle himself is a negative player, but that money and that split, like, that contract and the Knicks are just on two completely different timelines, in my opinion. And so, like, that contrast is ridiculously evident on the court. It's ridiculously evident in the rotations. And I just, like, if you're telling me I can get off that contract and move up, even though I don't want to move up, like, for my money's worth, whoever I would pick at 11 or whoever I'd pick at 7 will probably be there at 11. Like, there's two guys that I'm thinking that I want. Washington's been linked. But we'll talk about who you want to get.
Raw. I see your face.
Yeah.
Hold on, Raw.
My two guys for the Knicks, and we'll get to my guys. We'll get to your guys, and we'll talk out why one of us is right and one of us is wrong. But my two guys are Johnny Davis and Jalen Duren. And I think I've also seen them slipping both times.
At 11,
so, yeah, at 11. So, like, my point is, like, I don't have an urgency to trade up. And even if they're both gone, like, I would take someone like Dyson Daniels. I would take AJ Griffin. Like, I'm super comfortable with all these guys, and it's very fluid to me. Mm-hmm. So, I always, like, if you're trading up for someone. And once Jaden's off the board, I don't necessarily think there's anyone worth giving up assets for. Like, I'm much more comfortable just sitting at 11, waiting to see how the board shakes out and going from there.
All right. So Raw, I know you have your eyes on a certain Mathurin, right?
Man, Bennedict Mathurin is the deal, man. Look, let me tell you something. I want him before I want Ivy. I'm gonna be honest with you, and I'm gonna tell you what else. I think he's easier to get than Ivy, because to me, I think we can deal. I'm not sure, but there's a possibility Mathurin is there at 7. He's not going to be there at 11, but
I think he might be. I think he could be there at 11.
I don't think so.
Really?
No, there's no way. I mean, there's no way. Okay, I'll give you this. There's a 20% chance he's there at 11.
Okay.
Low percentage.
Yeah, but more than likely he's gone. By the time New Orleans picks at 8, if he's there, he's gone. This dude, there's some guys that just have that pop, man, and he's got it in spades. He's a big game player. He's 19. He's got a tremendous upside. Yes, he's got a lot of things to work on, but the template is there for a star. He's got everything you need in his raw materials, everything to be a star in the NBA. And I am just so high on him. If you give a Tibbs this guy that Tibbs, well, he's going to come in. He's going to work really hard. He's got R.J. Barrett from Canada with him. They're going to work hard on the defensive end of the floor and learn that end of the floor. This kid, I am telling you, him and Ivy, I like them both equal. I will take either one. And I think we can get the deal done. Portland is looking for a veteran power forward. They messed up when they sent out Robert Covington, and they're looking for a replacement. The guy that they want is Jeremy Grant, but Detroit's not giving him up. Now, the other guy you got is Miles Bridges, and then I've heard some things about John Collins. That's your competition right there. So I don't know who's going to win that, but I'm offering them Julius Randle. I'm taking back some dead contracts for them, and then I'm taking that 7th pick, and I'm picking Bennedict Mathurin if I could get him. See, I disagree. I think the Knicks are still rebuilding. I agree with that. And no, none of these guys are going to make us finals, Eastern Conference Finals next year, but I'm talking about 2 seasons from now. 2 seasons from now, you got R.J. Barrett is 22 going into his 4th season. You got, I think Mitchell Robinson will be back going into his 5th season. Then you're going to have Obi Toppin in his 3rd season. And I think he's very underrated. And so I am really excited to get a guy like a Mathurin, because in 2 seasons, I think we'll be pushing that door, man. We'll be pushing that door there. So that's all I'm looking for. And I'm looking for Tibbs to, take away all of these vet toys he got and let him put all of his, put his whip out on these kids. Because if he does that, man, I'm telling you, and I'm telling you, this dude Mathurin is bet. I don't know. I hope everybody feels like Jake feels. Just let him fall, because I want this kid. I want this kid more than I want Ivy. I want this boy, man. Because Ivy got to learn how to go to his left. He's going to need to learn how to do the mid-range. And I believe he's got the talent. He's going to be able to do all that. It's going to take a little time. He's learning the toughest position in the league at the point guard spot. It's a different game with him. He's not like a wing. So Mathurin will have, I think, an easier path to stardom from his position, being he's going to be a 2 or a 3. At 6'6", 6'7", with that athleticism, this cat, I want this boy. I want him. Everybody else, like, to me, it's realistically, Ivy's going to get drafted before him. Then you're going to have, to me, it's Ivy, Mathurin, and then I love Jeremy Sohan. After that, all of those other guys that I like Tyrese, and I like Griffin, I like all of those guys, but they're all kind of in that same. If it was on a chart, they'd be all bunched together, and these 3 guys would be a little bit out. But that's what I like. Yeah.
For me, when I look at him, cause I'm still kind of learning the guys, so my opinions aren't as strong as you guys just as yet. For me, when I look at the base of him, I see a guy who's a potential 3-level guy, and he doesn't have that the defense that because when I look at Griffin, like, I feel like he lacks on the defensive end, and that scares the crap out of me. We'll get into him in a minute. Mm-hmm. But to me, he seems like he can. I like percentages. So if he's shooting high percentages, for me, that's 45 from the field, 30, 41 for 3. I'm already got my attention. But I'm gonna ask Jake though, Bo, from what you see in his game though, I know what you say a lot of times is what type of shots are you getting, right? Because if you're getting a lot of ISO heavy shots, sometimes your percentages won't be as high. If you're getting a lot of off ball shots, your percentage is a little bit higher. So what are you seeing from his game? And maybe you can explain why he may not be as high as Roy is too.
So with Mathurin, I think, I definitely don't see him being a 1. I don't really think he's a 2 either. My thing with Mathurin, the shooting is very real. Like, I buy the percentages. He was gunning all year. They were deep, they were difficult. And yeah, he was like, that's 2 years now of him shooting really well for Arizona. So shooting, not an issue for me. Defense, I have a lot of concerns. He's a 2/3. Feel off the ball, not very good. Consistently he's kind of getting lost, losing his man, just disregarding defensive responsibilities. I'm just pretty low feel on defense, but very this is kind of just the contradiction that comes in. You said, ridiculous athlete, open floor athlete, top floor, above the rim, showtime. We can go through all the adjectives, but unfortunately on the court on both ends, I find that it's just not as functional. Because defensively, he's not super sound when it comes to rotations, not super sound when it comes to off-ball responsibilities. And on offense, while the shooting is great, and I really like his off-ball score. I picture him as an off-ball scorer. He can come off your pin downs. He's going to space the floor. He's going to reliably make shots. But I really worry about the handle and his ability to get to the rim and penetrate and be a slasher. Like, I mean, just from numbers, like I pulled up, I did a spreadsheet where you kind of evaluate where guys are getting their shots, where they're shooting at all three levels. Mathurin shot 63% at the rim on a good volume, including transition, which is very good.
Very good.
The number I have an issue with is 57% of those makes are assisted, and he's basically sandwiched in between a couple of power forwards. And any of the guys that are considered creators are not even close to that. Like, they're all in the 30s and 20s. And, you know, that's obviously it's just one number, but it's contextualized based on what I'm seeing on film, which is if it's not in a straight line, like when it comes to counters, if he's walled off, they're just not in his bag right now. And the handle's super inconsistent. He had a couple flashes operating as a playmaker, especially in pick and roll, but they were just a little bit too inconsistent for my liking. So what I'm getting with Mathurin is like he's going. I definitely think like he's an NBA player. Like, I think he's going to stick in the league. He has tools. If he works at it and can kind of shore things up in the defensive end, he has the tools and the body type to make it work. But on offense, like, I just struggle with, you know, valuing someone who I don't really entrust with secondary creation chops that much, and is probably like 6'5", maybe 6'6" at best. So that's kind of my disconnect, is like, I totally buy the shooting, I totally buy the tools, and I think he's an NBA player. It's just more so like he's not someone I'm super enthused by. And we talked about just like getting good players, but also like, if you're someone like AJ Griffin, like I think he could be a nuclear wing shooter. Like, we're not just like Mathurin is a good shooter. AJ could be a great shooter. While also being a little bit stronger and more of a three, and I think offering a little bit more defensive upside if he can kind of tune things up. And then someone like Johnny Davis, who I really like, showed the ability to drive and create a little bit, in addition to, if you can kind of iron out the three and space the floor, less of a capable jump shooter than Mathurin and less of a run and jump athlete, but much more sound and effective on defense and can penetrate and run second side action. So, I mean, it is a little bit more preference. I just gravitate more towards the guys who are either going to be super elite as a shooter. And I think AJ Griffin still has some stuff off the bounce, not a ton, but I do worry about Mathurin's, you know, the rest of his game, we can call it.
Okay.
I mean, I can see where Jake is coming from, but to me, I'm looking at Mathurin. There's a lot of these guys that come out of AAU, and nobody's really asked them to play defense before. And so he's used to, and a lot of these guys like him are just so physically gifted. NBA players in general, just so physically gifted above other people, human beings, that he's one of these guys that never had to really focus on that. So I'm not really as concerned with that on the long term. Again, he's 19. I'm not worried about him learning how to play defense, and I'm not worried about him developing. He's got the template there: the body, the athleticism, the explosiveness, the gonads to want the ball at the end. I think he's just got the template to be that guy. So, right, yeah, does he need work? Yes, he needs work. Nobody's coming into this draft ready to take over a team and just lead them to the promised land. But to me, you combine it with what the Knicks already have. You put him out there on that wing, and like I said, in 2 seasons, not a rookie year, not a second year, maybe that 3rd season, I'm seeing something with him, man. I see a lot of star in him.
Interesting debate. I love it, man. I love debates, man.
This is what it's about.
This is what it's about, man. This isn't about Knicks fans. The opposite ends of the spectrum. Yeah, the athleticism versus the, I don't know. He doesn't see the shot creation like we do, or Raw does.